The case was closed. The sentence was final, but the language didn't stop. When a convicted mind speaks, most people listen for regret. I listen for rehearsal. You're listening to Hearing the Silence of a Convicted Mind. I'm Chameleon. I don't chase noise, I study silence. Think of one composite subject, mid-40s, prior adjustments, a conviction for organized fraud and obstruction. I listened to dozens of calls from one state facility, not for drama, but for endings. Why? Why the endings? Because the last 30 seconds is where obligations get restated, plans get rehearsed, and sometimes directions slip through. No theatrics, no raised voice. What fell off in plain terms was structure. He rarely spoke in past tense. He rarely offered apologies. Instead, his closings used conditionals and polite imperatives that read like soft contracts. Listen for 3 markers that recur. First, sign-offs that act like commitments. Make sure you, don't forget to, then a pause that lets the listener accept the obligation. It's politeness framed as duty. Second, the afterthought. The conversation has already closed, and then there's a pivot. Oh, one more thing. It's short, seemingly incidental, and it tucks a task into goodbye. Third, the silence itself, timing before keywords. A held breath, a pause before a name, a pause before if. Those holes invite the listener to feel agreement. Silence has patterns. Concrete moment, paraphrase into a repeatable exchange. Composite line, make sure you get the papers to Casey, not tomorrow, on Tuesday. Response, okay, I'll do it. See how the afterthought in the become the trigger for a future action? That sequence is compliance testing in miniature, a small, polite ask paired with a soft confirmation. It measures willingness and creates a future touch point. Tone matters. Notice how the voice can go flat on admission and then sharpen when moving to planning. More future tense, more repetition. Later, next week. Make sure. It reads as rehearsal, not remorse. Silence converts ambivalence into assent. A pause gives the other person the space to answer for you, usually with cooperation. Over dozens of calls, those tiny agreements accumulate into coordination. Small requests are probes. Can you check on that? Test capacity. If accepted, the next closing is a touch firmer. If resisted, the subject retreats to civility and tries again later. It's an escalatory ladder hidden inside politeness. Now step back. Conviction limits movement. It doesn't terminate planning. Tactics shift from action to language. Endings stitch single calls into longer sequences. Each engineered sign-off becomes a link in a chain that preserves influence behind walls. The chilling possibility. These lines may not be reactions. They can be rehearsed. Repetition of clauses, the same conditional frames, the same timed pauses. That pattern looks like planning for this exact phase. If you want 3 simple listening techniques, use these. 1. Spot conditional sign-offs that place obligations on the listener. 2. Notice any afterthought that follows goodbye. 3. Map pauses, especially before names or future verbs. Repeat them. They're practical and testable. This is analysis, not accusation. The subject I've referenced is a composite. The tools I've described are neutral. Language, timing, intent. Use them to listen better, to ask clearer questions, and to spot where silence is doing work. Conviction closes cases. It doesn't always close patterns. Silence has patterns. If you want to hear more of this work, subscribe. Listen closely next week. Is the truth in what is said? Incarceration restricts movement. It does not restrict cognition. Some minds adapt. That's what I heard. Listen carefully.
They call it manipulation. Sometimes it's adaptation to constant observation. Because when you know someone's always listening, you learn how to speak without saying everything.